Hey everyone! Today we're looking at a challenge for my favorite game of all time, Super Mario World. What we're going to figure out is if you can beat this game 100% without collecting a single coin. Our plumber may be pudgy, but we want to keep his wallet as thin as possible. I have to say this was one heck of a challenge, and it had way more surprises in store for us than I ever could have imagined. Alright, we have 96 exits to make it through, so we'll jump right into this challenge. Oh, and if you're unfamiliar with glitches in Super Mario World, you're in for a few treats during this run. I need to state a few things before we begin moving through the levels. Firstly, if you see this at the top of the screen, it means that I'm using a practice version of Super Mario World for testing, made by Dotsarecool. There's a link to both his YouTube channels and his website in the description. Also, I want to show you real quick, at the end of a level, we have to collect the exit tape and kill any enemies on screen. Otherwise, they will turn into dreadful coins. Secondly, if you see this covering my item box, it's because I have something in there that I want to reveal at a later time, but I won't hide anything from you during this run. I'll also have this exit counter up at all times. Lastly, this run follows the 96 exit speedrun route, and it may seem a little odd at first, but hopefully it makes sense as we get near the end why I choose to follow this route. I also wanted to prove that this run is able to be speedrun, because I think it would be a really fun category to watch. I'm not a speedrunner of this game, I just know the mechanics and tricks they use because I find them really fun to pull off. Okay, so at the beginning of the game, we're given a choice of whether to go right or left. We'll go right here, and the first level is Yoshi's Island 2. I'm going to skip this level for now, but we'll talk about it later on, and we'll move right to talking about Yoshi's Island 3. This level makes it obvious that this challenge isn't going to be a walk in the park. The first dragon coin we see is pretty hard to get by, and I will admit this would be much easier if we would have completed the Yellow Switch Palace first, but it's not necessary. This area with the expanding blocks is really tough to get by. But we make it through. The rest is pretty easy, and we make it through as Penniless Mario. Yoshi's Island 4 is next. It has some tight areas for sure, like this part. This area with the P-switch and all the Koopas seems a little tough too, but by hitting the P-switch and jumping over the dragon coin, we move on and complete the level. We find ourselves at the first castle, which belongs to Iggy. The entire level is very easy to avoid coins. However, moving past these 4 coins may seem a little daunting. But if you move all the way to the right of the ground here, and just barely tap A to spin jump, you can make it across the gap. I did some experimentation too, and you can do this as Big Mario as well. Iggy is a pushover, so just like that, we are on to the Donut Plains. Donut Plains 1 is a very memorable level to me, as it is the first time we can get a cape. This is going to be extremely useful in our run, as it will allow us to simply fly over a lot of perilous coins. We'll take the secret exit here, and move on to Donut Secret 1. For the normal exit, there's really no coins that show us any issues, and by swimming under the level here, we easily make it to the Donut Ghost House. The secret exit is no problem at all. Now, we'll head back to Donut Secret 1 for the secret exit, the first exit that gives us a tough time. When finding a way to complete this exit, we're met with this issue. In this block is a key, but we can only get to it by pressing the P-switch, which presents all these troubling coins. I admit, at first I was very confused. I didn't want my run to end so quickly, so I experimented around. I tried a bunch of things, but realized I was totally overthinking this, because this exit is actually pretty easy. First, we'll head into this room, grab a shell, and go through this color-changing pipe. Then we need to place the shell here. Be careful not to place it too far away, because if you do, it will disappear when the screen scrolls. Place the P-switch here, grab the shell, hit the P-switch, head right, and kill the Rip Van fish for safety. Then camp in this corner. Wait until the warning the P-switch is going to run out sound, then throw the shell. Voila! We're through this exit, poor as ever. At this point, I'll say any levels we can beat by flying over, we'll just skip talking about, since we have a lot to get through. We'll skip talking about Donut's secret house. Donut's secret 2 is really easy, just make sure if you hit any of the Koopas at the end to kill them before hitting the exit tape. Moving to Donut Plains 4, we fly over the first half, but we'll drop down and collect Yoshi. This makes the part with the Galumpas a bit of a pain, but it's not too difficult. Morton's castle isn't too bad since there aren't many coins. So we'll bop Morton. And we're on to the Vanilla Dome. Vanilla Dome 2 is up. First we want the secret exit. This presents a huge problem because of all of these blocks. Normally we would need to come all the way over here, collect this P-switch and all of these coins, and then we would get this exit. Well, this is where you will see the first glitch of the run. So what we are going to do is get Mario and his dinosaur friend here, kill the fish for safety, and do this, and boom, we made it into the wall. We have to be careful because there is no water to swim through in the wall. We'll glide over here, dismount Yoshi, and lo and behold, we finish this exit with no coins at all. Next is the Red Switch Palace. We'll destroy the disco shell, then hit the P-switch and move along the newly formed blocks. Awesome, our first Switch Palace is completed. Now we want to head back to Vanilla Dome 2 to complete the normal exit, and this is a gigantic hurdle we'll have to overcome in this challenge. I just showed how we can glitch into the key room with Yoshi, but now we need to get one room further. I tried everything I could possibly think of. I knew Super Mario World was pretty glitchy, so I thought I might be able to jump through this wall. I also thought if I was carrying a key, I would be able to do a trick to get out at the bottom. You see, you can jump on keys with frame-perfect inputs to continue jumping. I truly thought I was getting somewhere. But it turns out this left wall is like platform 9 3/4. And this right wall is like platform 9 3/4 when Dobby is trying to keep you from getting to school. I had one last idea. There's a glitch where you can get a Lakitu cloud into your item box. But when testing, it makes you collect a coin. I felt truly lost in this challenge, and that we would fail our goal. With no more ideas, I considered the best place to check for an answer to this conundrum would be with the Super Mario World speedrunning community, to see if they had any ideas. Well everyone, I have to say that they did not disappoint at all. They were so helpful and incredibly nice. Just real quick, I am going to give a special shout out to these members of the Super Mario World Discord. And a very special shout out to WKerrick, MostlySMW, and SilverStar6609. Please see links to their YouTube and Twitch accounts in the description below the video. You've probably noticed I've had my item box blocked out. Well, let me reveal what's in there to you. Okay, so this is Lakitu's cloud, and MostlySMW was the one who came up with the strategy that helped me get it coinless. Now I'll show you what I did in the first level of the run, Yoshi's Island 2. I'll try my best to give a brief explanation of what's going on, but I don't want to get too technical here. If you don't care about a description of how to do this trick, skip ahead to the time shown on the video. So this entire trick is done with sprite slot manipulation, and also because charging Chuck is for some reason considered a power-up in Super Mario World. So we grab this red shell, then run over here and get Yoshi. Stomp on this shell, spit out the red one, and grab a green shell. This green shell is very important. We kill the Chuck, spawn this one up, kill 2 moles, and make it here. We'll spit the shell here in the pipe. Grab the P-switch and spit it on the silver pipe. The green shell killed the piranha plant while we were doing this. Now, this next part is pixel perfect, which absolutely terrified me at first. I've never done anything that was called pixel perfect. But once you learn a way to line up the pixels, it's not too bad. I'll zoom in so you can see how to line up the switch. I spent so much time learning this, I figured out why my mom always told me not to sit too close to the TV. Once you have this lined up, kick the P-switch upward. Jump on Yoshi and grab the shell with Yoshi's tongue. Spit the shell in the pipe. Sometimes Yoshi gets hurt and sometimes he doesn't. This trick will still work either way. If you destroy the shell though, you have to restart. Now stand around here with Yoshi. This next part I found really difficult. So hit X and A at pretty much the same time. A slightly after X. Yoshi will stick his tongue out and Mario will jump off. You want to move Mario to the left so he crushes the shell, and then right so he lands back on Yoshi. Now, while the stars are still on the screen, hold down and press Y so Yoshi puts the shell on the ground. A Koopa will have spawned. Quickly grab the shell with Yoshi's tongue, turn right, and press down and Y again to put the shell around here. Jump over the Koopa and turn right. Scroll the screen to the right twice. I found doing the second screen scroll when the Koopa was about to jump in the shell made this easier. You can try this as many times as you need, as long as you don't destroy the shell and the game doesn't crash. Just make sure to kill that Koopa before you restart. Now, right as the Koopa enters the shell, press Y and run right. If all of this is done correctly, one of 3 things will happen. Either 1. Yoshi will eat the chuck and the chuck will disappear. 2. The game will crash, and you might hear some awesome music like this. Or 3. You'll get Lakitu's Cloud in your item box. It's worth mentioning that all of the stuff that I did up until the green pipe may not be 100% necessary, but everything needs to be in the correct sprite slots, so this works. I'll show this trick in real time during the actual run here. So when we get to Vanilla Dome 2 for the normal exit, we'll do the Yoshi clip into the key room, and move to the right side of the screen. I had to screen scroll to make sure that the cloud wasn't going to spawn in a wall. Hit select and boom, we can fly under this wall and complete the normal exit. I just had to Goku through the rest of the level after all of that. Okay, so now we move on to Vanilla Ghost House. Talk about being out of the frying pan and into the fire. The first room is easy with the cape. The next room is too for the most part, except for getting in the door. It's surrounded by coins until we hit the P-switch, but then they turn into blocks. Oh boy, how are we going to get into that door without touching a coin? Well, there's a mechanic in Super Mario World that some people may not know. While flying, if you hit B and tap the opposite direction of the one you're flying in, Mario will slow down. So we'll bring the P-switch left to this platform, hit the P-switch, run right, fly, and fly under the platform with the door. By controlling Mario's flight speed and a lot of practice, we can carefully maneuver in between the blocks and enter the door.
Superb.
We'll move on to Lemmy's castle, where it's important that we hit the P-switch to get into this door. We hop on Lemmy a couple of times, in Cheese Bridge area, I wanted to see if it was possible to fly to the wing block with Yoshi. And it is, which would be very useful in a speedrun. Skipping to Soda Lake, there's definitely some tight spots, but nothing worse than what we've seen so far. Now we're heading to the Star World. First up is Star World 3. This level looks deceptively easy. However, this yellow Yoshi is a problem, because even when we're off screen, he can eat the spike tops, giving us coins. So we'll kill Lakitu and throw the yellow Yoshi off the stage to be safe. Moving to Star World 1, this level is pretty safe for us, but when moving through the turn blocks we have to be a little careful to avoid any dragon coins. We grab the mushroom at the beginning to feed Yoshi a little later. In Star World 2, we bring baby Yoshi along. It's best to just stay up top for most of the level. Then when getting the normal exit, I fed Yoshi to get an adult blue Yoshi, the most useful in Super Mario World. Now we'll move on to Secret World. In Gnarly, the level is made very simple by running to the right and grabbing this Koopa. We'll just fly over the left side and free fall down the right side. Next is most people's most hated level, Tubular. We could struggle doing this, or this, but let's just do this instead. Awesome is a bit of a pain with all these coins at the start. We just have to go slow and be careful. Then we'll grab this shell and fly over the rest of the level. None of the rest of Secret World really gives us any issues, so we'll move on to the Yellow Switch Palace. We just won't touch this P-switch, because it'll do this if we do. And we're done. Skipping to Donut Ghost House, this level isn't very difficult. We just can't fly in the first room. Man, a lot of these levels aren't very difficult, so we're gonna skip a bunch here. We're going to skip all the way to Forest of Illusion 1. We'll grab Yoshi here. It's not really hard, but we do have to be careful about our jumping to make sure Yoshi doesn't gobble any berries. It's best to just keep his mouth full, so grabbing a shell is advised. In Forest of Illusion 2, we'll just swim under the level. In Forest Ghost House, at a first glance some people may think this level is impossible, because you're supposed to go here. But you can actually just fly over this wall. Forest Secret Area provides for a decent challenge if we ride the platforms. You can fly over the level, but this was kind of fun. At the end we just have to make sure to get over the exit tape and to either collect or swat away these 1-ups. I decide to swat them away. Why is Bowser leaving 1-ups around anyways? Moving to Roy's Castle, I wanted to challenge myself, so I flew through the first room. I couldn't find a great way by these Yoshi coins, so I just took damage. A really odd glitch happened here where the expanding block disappeared. This is how it should look. The odd level, Chocolate Island 2, is what we'll talk about next. This level is weird because the exit the player takes is either decided by the amount of coins that you have, or the amount of time left on the timer when a player transitions from room to room. We'll just go through the level really fast the first time, and really slow the second time. And it's not really difficult either time. Chocolate's Secret has a bit of tough movement in this room. We glide through the rest of the level though. We'll talk about Chocolate Island 4 a bit later. We'll skip to Sunken Ghost Ship. Most of the level is really easy, but in this room we find ourselves blocked by a wall of coins. This seems absolutely impossible to get past, but I again have something weird in my item box. Now we'll talk about what we did in Chocolate Island 4. We bring a Yoshi to here, then get a fire flower. We duplicate the fire flower. This works because Mario collects it and Yoshi eats it. Then we head here and do another Chuck Eat glitch. This time with the fire flower. I will say I have a large amount of trouble with this. Sometimes I can do it first try, other times it takes me minutes. This puts an item in our item box that only appears once in the game, the green exit orb. I think it's fitting that we only use this glitch on the one level that this item already exists on. And there, we made it through one of the most seemingly impossible levels in the game. A huge thank you to SilverStar6609 for this trick. I wanted to take the orb into the free fall room, but I got hit by a ghost. That's fine though, we take those. I went back and grabbed a Yosh and cape before the final world, the Valley of Bowser. In the Valley of Bowser, we're going to skip right to the Valley Ghost House, because it's a bit of a thing. The secret exit is actually really easy. But the normal exit is another huge challenge. So here's the deal. We want to make it into this third door on this platform. But there's a problem. There's all these coins to get there when we hit the P-switch. So it seems we're going to have to do something similar to what we did in Vanilla Ghost House. I also noticed that there's this 1-up all the way at the end. It may sound crazy, but I made a little mini challenge to myself to collect that 1-up, turn around, and get in the exit door. Again, some people may not know about this trick, but when you're flying, if you tap X and the opposite direction of the one you're flying in, Mario will change his flight direction. After a ton of practice, I was able to get it. Check this out. Moving to Valley of Bowser 3, be careful flying and jumping around here. There's coins hidden above the screen, but with careful jumping and gliding, we make it through unscathed by wealth. In Larry's castle, I again wanted to see if it was possible to fly through without touching any coins. It is, but it requires some pretty precise movement. Okay everyone, none of the other levels in Valley of Bowser are really difficult for our challenge, and with that, it pleases me to say that we move on to Bowser without collecting a single coin. We bop him, and we've done it. All 96 exits without collecting any coins. Our poor little plumber is reunited with Princess Peach, who I'm sure has more than enough coins for the both of them. This really was a fantastic challenge, and I had a great time doing it. I want to thank everyone for watching and checking this out. And as this is being released in the holiday season, I would like to wish everyone a happy holidays. Please remember to like, subscribe, and comment. I'll be seeing you in the new year of 2020 next time.